Aloha and mahalo for joining me. I'm Janin and welcome back to my channel. I am so grateful that you're here. And today I wanted to continue my little series on self-care. And there's so much underneath that category of self-care because, there's a lot of things to think about. So I wanted to really dive deep into like self-care ideas when you feel like you don't have any, because I've had people say they don't have any self-care ideas. So self-care is something that's been really a big focus in the world, probably within the last 10 years, with all the different things people are sharing online with physical workouts and supplements and different things that you can take. So self-care is really, really broad. So one of the things I want to talk about, I want to start talking about self-care for the different parts of who you are. Now, we're a really complex human being, and there's parts of us like our spirit. We have a spirit in our body, and our spirits need to be nurtured. They need to be taken care of. And we have our mind, our thoughts and all the things that go on up there in our brain. We have things that we need to take care of with our mind. And then we have our emotions. And there is a lot of emotions that we experience on a daily basis. And we have to take care of that part of us, our emotions. And then last but not least, there's our physical body. We have these physical bodies where our spirits reside. We should really make a big effort to take care of it. So we have a lot to think about when it does come to our physical body. And so I want to start off with your spirit. Now, knowing that we have all these different parts of us that make up who we are, I want to touch on our spirits first, because it seems like sometimes people don't really understand what our spirit is. And there's different ways I can go about explaining it. I can explain it when you're looking at it from a science perspective, that our spirits are energy, and it's been studied and measured and talked about for years and years. But I can also come from it from a perspective where God created our spirits. And that's what I actually prefer. I like to talk about it like that because it's more special. I think that it has more meaning. Yes, we are energy, but my perspective and my belief is that God created our spirits and allowed us to come to earth and have a body. And then together our spirit and our body make up our soul. So our spirits need to be nurtured. So that's all the things about us that is not tangible. Like you can't touch our spirit, really, if you think about it. Like I can't reach out and touch it. I mean, I can touch my body, but you can't really touch your spirit. So those are the things that need to be nurtured, where some of the self-care ideas could be where you pray and maybe you meditate, and or all of this is and or, like all of it really applies at any time that you want to do any of this. But besides praying and meditating, you can read your scriptures, you can read good books, you can just sit and not talk and just have that quiet time just to relax your spirit. So think about that. Like, what does your spirit need? I like to use the analogy of a computer. Computers have software, right? That's all the coding, and it runs your programs. And then the computer itself is all the main parts of it, all the hard parts. And, you can touch it and all of that. And you control the software by using the hardware, like what they call it. Like, I'm not a tech person. I love technology. I'm not an IT person, but this is how I got to understand it really well. Is like the software is like your spirit, and then the hardware on the computer is like your physical body. So your spirit, so if I go back to using the analogy of software, computer software and hardware, the software will run everything in the background. It gets the program ready to use, and then you control it with the hardware by using the keys or your mouse. So that's just like your spirit. Your spirit is the one that's controlling everything, and you have some control over it with your physical body. And so that's like a whole nother long topic too. It's really fascinating and interesting to think about that, because it's not something that I think people think about very often, but I find it fascinating. So I like talking about that. And then the next is your mind. So to me, your mind is like the thoughts that you have. To me, I consider your mind part of your spirit. Now, I'm not in science. Nobody gave me this definite information saying, okay, Janin, your mind is this and your mind is that. But your mind, we have thoughts. We have thoughts all day long, and that has to be nurtured, because if you aren't careful, your mind will just go crazy and you'll start thinking about all kinds of crazy things. So self-care ideas for your mind could be things like reading a book. It could be reading your scriptures. It could be playing music. It could be meditating. So a lot of the self-care ideas for all of the different parts of you, they actually, I was realizing it when I was working on some of the things I want to talk about for this video. I realized that everything under the category I have that you can do can fall under all categories. So for your mind, the idea of like reading a book, well, that's also good for your spirit, like I mentioned. That's also good for your emotions. It's also good for your physical body, because you're doing something different and it feels, your body is feeling it. Your body is very intuitive. So we need to nurture our mind with good things, and even things like taking a walk. Not only is that good for your physical body, but it's great for your mind. It gives you an opportunity to relax and get the blood flowing, get the brain going. And then the next part is your emotions. Now, emotions is crazy. Your emotions really can help you or it can hurt you. So it depends on what you're thinking, because we always have a thought first, and then that triggers our emotions, depending on what the thought is. If you have good thoughts, it usually triggers good emotions. But if you have negative thoughts or bad thoughts, that usually triggers negative emotions, or it'll trigger anger or frustration. And you know what I'm talking about, because if you've been living on this earth longer than a few years, you really know what emotions can do to you. So some of the self-care ideas for your emotions could be also to meditate. You can journal. You can call a friend. That's the best remedy. To go and call your best friend, have lunch with your best friend. That's what I do. And emotions could be talking it out. It could be singing. It could be listening to music to help you with your emotions, right? If you are experiencing frustration or pain, sometimes it's good to listen to uplifting or soothing music. It's also good to do anything that you know will help you with your emotions. And of course, the list is endless. So I'm just giving you a few ideas just so that you can get the ideas going, and that you'll be more willing to take care of yourself, to do this self-care. Okay, and then the next part is your physical body. So we have this wonderful human body, physical body that we were given by God to live here on this earth. Now, we really need to take care of it, because This is the only body we're going to get here on earth. We can't get a new one. As long as we live, we're going to have to deal with what we've been given. Now, nobody has a perfect body. And as you get older, like I mentioned in my previous video, or last few videos, is that it's harder as you get older. Even though you take care of yourself, your body does age. And it depends on what you do, what your lifestyle is, as far as how fast it ages and all of that kind of stuff. That actually can be a whole video in itself. But some of the things that you can do for taking care of your physical body, your self-care, would be obviously exercise. We all need to be doing some form of exercise, whether it's walking, yoga. I personally use a rebounder because it doesn't have any impact on my bones or my body or my joints, because I'm not bouncing on a hard surface. Like, I don't run anymore. I stopped running like probably 35 years ago. But you can also dance, you can go hiking. You know what you like too, as far as taking care of your physical body. Now, as I get older, I find that I like doing the simpler things, like rebounding, and I don't like the physical kind of exercise, like running or jogging or anything like that. I just find that it's way too hard on my body, and it's not worth it. Because as you get older, your body takes a little bit longer to recover. Sometimes that's just how it is. Now, I try to take care of myself and rebound at 5 days a week, sometimes 6, but I'm only on the rebounder for maybe 8 to 10 minutes on average. Sometimes I'll rebound for 20 minutes, but that's something that I can do that is exercising my whole physical body. It's not just one part. So think about all these different things that you know you would love to do and you would like to start implementing now. And these are just a small portion of the ideas that I'm trying to give you, so that you don't have any excuse to start taking care of yourself and doing the self-care. Because everyone has a different idea of what self-care is. But self-care is pretty much doing anything that is taking care of these 4 parts of us. And it's just the 4 basic parts, right? Our spirit, our mind, our emotions, and our physical body. Because those 4 areas govern who we are and govern what we do on a daily basis. And that's how we live. Because if we were missing any one of these 4, we wouldn't be alive. Okay, so think about that. These are just some ideas for self-care. And I really want to emphasize how important it is to take care of yourself. And so in my last few videos, I do talk about why it's important and things like that. And so I just wanted to do something where I can talk more about these different parts of you and why self-care is really important for your spirit, your mind, your emotions, and your physical body. So thank you for being here. Please subscribe to this channel. And please let me know if you have any questions, if you'd like to get started working with me, so that I can help you start taking care of yourself and get to a good place. We want to be able to live a life where we have the physical energy and the mental capacity and emotional and spiritual capacity to deal with living here on this earth. And we only have this one shot. Okay, so take care of yourself, and thank you for being here. Have a great day. Aloha.